Well, oh my gosh, who's ready for Mondays? Oh, here at freedomslips.com, Revolution Radio. It just seems like so many energies are so vast, and there's a background of ones we're trying to coordinate in our physical beings because we are sentient beings. We feel, we taste, we touch, we smell, we hear. And thank you for listening here to Revolution Radio. And we are donator supported, and my squash soup's already on the stove, so it's a good Monday. It's the Mohsen Monday. And I'm going to ask him a question. Basically, how can we help calm the inner being from the external essence that we are influenced by?
Hello, Mona.
Hi,
A warm welcome to all the listeners again on this Monday. And I'm going to be doing my breathing today. As I told you, I'm suffering a little bit from a headache, but it'll be fine. Yeah, to respond to your question, what do I do? And I have to deal with 3 children who basically live with me, and they're actually adults, and once in a while we come up, I have to deal with all their moods and their insecurities and this and that.
right.
And it makes,
Father.
yeah, and as a father, it makes you very, very, it can bring certain degree of depression and all that. So even if I take care of all myself, etherically and physically well, there's 3 other children who are really, really very close to me. And anyway, and so I've been thinking, how do I do this? I mean, how do I, be calm, make them calm,
Right.
and all this stuff. And I want to tell you this, Mona, there is only one answer, and it's the only answer, and that is love. It's not just love as the kind of infatuation or need or that kind of love that, humans are,
Well, it's
used to.
unconditional. You're not putting anything out there that they have to live up to your expectations, so you're not expecting conditions to be met. So it's an unconditional love.
That is completely true. And the unconditional love itself, it's not just a frequency, it's a science. Let me, recently this has come to me, okay?
Cool.
That basically love is parallel to light, okay? Now we have explored light. Now we understand this is not something that just illuminate things or heat us up or photons and all this stuff that we studied in physics and all that.
Right.
Light is beyond that. Light is the very essence of God that manifests itself in physicality. And we've talked about this before, and I'm just going to reiterate on that again, that basically the super consciousness of God is, which is certainly in the realm of antimatter. Hello? Hello?
I was just pouring my coffee. I didn't want to interrupt your thing, so I put myself on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're so sensitive there. It's okay.
No, I was just wondering if
I get the trick, though. Yesterday it was so funny. I'll just separate this for a second so you can get a breath. But I produce a show on Sundays, and of course it has to do with my Skype. And all of a sudden, B Studio was missing. And I'm like, okay, am I going to freak? No, because stuff happens, and we'll see if it comes back. And him and I talked for almost an hour before we could get Studio B back on. And the universe provided the station owner to know that B was down, so he got to it and fixed it, and it went in a roundabout way. But I see it all as breath too, not just love, because I love the rocks. I even love the mess. Because if you can love any condition or can any kind of thing that's happening just because it is, without judgment, without placing expectations of have tos, because the universe will show you different if you get in that kind of structure based imagining. So,
Right.
okay, back to you, sir.
Yeah. Well,
Love.
as I said, the love that I am beginning to tune to. I mean, I've always been a
Mm-hmm.
very warm and loving person, I think, since childhood and throughout my life, my life with my wife who passed away last year, my children, very close and loving and all that, and with my family, everybody, my associates, whatever. But that's not the type of love that I'm talking about. It's an example of that, and a prime example of that we can relate to in physicality.
Mm-hmm.
But love, the unconditional love, comes from the prime creator himself or herself. And it is a science. It is just like light is a science. Love is a science. And it probably going to take us the rest of our uh, so to speak, quote unquote, lifetime, not on this planet, ever, to basically master the science of love.
Mm-hmm.
It, it certainly is a glue that binds the cosmos and everything that is within it together. Because when there is no love, things start falling apart. And you have to resort to other sorts of things, such as power, apathy, strength, all that stuff. And some people say, "Oh well, there's so many evil people that they don't know anything about love, yet they're successful." But the point is that are they successful? Are
Well,
they
they have a
happy?
different vibrational outlook on it too, as well, because the conditioning of this third dimensional, because that unconditional love is all dimensional.
Right, right. And I think these people they just learn to live with it. They have different, as you mentioned, that they have a different sort of It's the frequencies are the same, but they try to adhere to a different part of the spectrum of
Right.
and then they try to make ends meet. As I said, through apathy, through these kind of things,
Well,
and
apathy is ignoring. It's just going along with the flow to the point of where you're being suffocated by false illusions. It just doesn't make sense to me.
right, but when it comes, see, when you develop apathy, then
Right.
you just cut the cord of love, and you kind of deprive yourself from this science of love, and then you continue on with other you use other techniques. So apathy is the starting point, but then all kinds of things, playing games, all sorts of things that they exist in the third dimension. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't even like to get into it and elaborate on it
Mm-hmm.
because it is nothing interesting. I mean, I suffer every single day. Everywhere you go, they try to overcharge you. They try to. I mean, I don't want to sound like a negative person or anything like that, but that's part of the 3D paradigm.
But if
Things
you're awake to the truth of that, you don't have to play their game and feed the system. You're building more in that love category than the fear category, because that's what they want from us. They want us to have that aggravation to the point where they're feeding off that vibration. That's where they get the power. That's what apathy does, like what you said, cuts us off from the true universal law of living in this third dimensional.
that is quite correct, Mona, and it's unfortunately that's very very commonplace. I think it is being transmuted little by little as our frequencies are going higher and people are becoming, they discern their consciousness, they value their consciousness, that they have that, they have a correct sense of pride, not in their consciousness, which they should. I mean, and anyway, and it's going to go away, but there it still is commonplace. It's the system they put in place, which feeds on fear, anger, and all this kind of
Slavery.
stuff. Exactly, exactly. I mean, we're all, I mean, I try not to be, tend not to be, but you can't help it. I mean, we came, for example, in this resort, okay? And they put all these pictures in there and stuff like this. It is nothing like they said it is.
Right, right.
It's just cheap. It's just everywhere you go they try to hit you with money and this and this. And that's the only satisfaction a lot of people get. They think that just by charging and by accumulation and they can have everything they want. Well, what do you need in this world? You really do not need a $5 million house or 10 or 10. And then you buy a 5 million, 10 million, 20 million. There is no end to it. And it becomes so stupid. I'm walking in here in Miami, you know what I'm saying? But on the boardwalk and, downtown and all that stuff. And my children were talking about, oh, that's a $4 million yacht or stuff like this. And I'm saying, this is so absurd. $40 million yacht. First of all, why would you want that? Secondly, how do they value $40 million? I mean, you can make a palace with $40 million. I can build you, a 100,000 square feet, beautiful thing for $40 million. Anyway, the thing is, you don't need it. And then when you play this game, it feeds upon itself. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
The momentum, right.
And there's these number games, these all this stuff. Anyway, this is only one aspect of these dark frequencies. The other thing, which is again against love and not really taking advantage or being understanding the privilege that God has given you, the love of God. I mean, and there are other things, treating people badly, you know what I'm saying, being, and I'm going to tell you something. I've seen my children,
Okay.
I've done it myself, and I completely get in there and talk to them so they're out of it. Because when you adhere to those sort of things, the first person you hurt is yourself. I don't care how rich you are. If you're greedy, you're never ever rich.
Right.
You're always poor in your own mind. The most important thing is how you think about yourself. Once you start looking at yourself as a source of consciousness, as a constituent part of God, with all the bells and whistles that comes from God, which is
For the all, not for the selfishness of the me.
exactly the love. You come with that. It is within you. All you have to do is just go there and explore it and bring it out and practice it. So going back to what you were saying is that what do you do? To me, I tell you what I do. I meditate. And you don't have to have a very formal sense of meditation, put candles around or do this or that. No. Just sit on the bed, okay? Just concentrate, go within, and seek God because He's right there. And I tell you something, every time that I'm that, there's been a couple of times I've been really, really. Last week, my daughter had her
Or, yes.
bar exam,
Hmm.
and she called me from New York, and she was so scared. And I mean, she's a top-notch student and all this stuff. So what is this fear? It's absurd. And that's what I told her. She called me 3, 4 times at night, at 1, at 3, at 4 o'clock. Which a lot of times I'm up, I'm reading, writing. Actually, I don't read anymore much, but you know, and you know, to a point, I sat down. I began to feel restless because I felt to myself, it's not me, it's her.
Right, right.
And what can I do for her? You know what I'm saying?
Well, you can't fix it. She's got to fix it in herself.
And
And
I tell
even
you
by
what,
just those energies has been able to create your also not feeling well in the head.
oh, believe
Think
me.
about it.
I
It's,
love
you
these
know.
children, and
Oh, I don't doubt it.
I do everything for them. But when they get a little bit negative about their upcoming career or this or that and all this stuff, it just you
Life is
feel.
not a career, Mohsen.
I know, but that's go tell them, and that's what I tell them.
But they're seeing your example because you were successful in your achievements of those things you investigated and you brought good wealth out of it. And they've just been seeing a whole different lifestyle. And since the transition of your wife, your whole lifestyle has also changed because now it's time for you to focus on you, not everything or everybody else, because you do a beautiful job at explaining what a lot of people need to wake up to.
I try, my dear, but
Oh,
and I think what's happening with the children, it's progressively they're getting better, 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 better because they need examples, as you said. And they've always been. See, we went through this thing that when they were babies, when they were children like that, they were dependent, especially on me a lot because I took care of them. My wife was very busy with medicine first going through all her educations, I had to support her through that. And then after that, when she came out, she was always very, very, she was very worried about things, high strung. She wanted to do a good job. And I mean, she did it. She did a good job. She was a healer. She was really, you would say, in a kind of a master healer.
right.
And she didn't care about money and stuff. But excuse me.
You're okay.
But she's she had to spend time with that. So I spent a lot of time with children, and being a professor, and I used to come home and then I quit. I didn't even do that. And so I spent a lot of time with them. But initially it was fine because they were completely doing everything so good. From their school work, everything was fantastic. Then they went to college. Then progressively they just fell apart little by little. And I was very much in contact with them, in touch with them and also, but they had out there. They had to go out there. You know what I'm saying? And they saw a lot of things. So all this competition, this. And I worked against that. Anyway, now they're back with me again. Since my wife passed away, they thought, oh my God, they're falling apart. And then I brought them back, together to a point that they're finding that sense of security that they had as child,
Right.
because this society corrupts you,
Oh, badly.
and
Destroys whole soul systems. It steals
it
souls.
does, and at that time I was not very, I've always been spiritual, deep within, and all this stuff, but it was before what I call my awakening, and what I'm doing right now, which is sort of prophetic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Why
And
not?
and I and at that time, so I didn't talk to them too much about. I talked about God and no religion whatsoever. No
Yeah, I
mosque,
got you. Uh huh.
and but it, now I'm paying attention to another aspect, which is higher dimensional consciousness, which they've at the beginning they were totally ignorant to it, just like everybody else on the planet. Or they're not ignorant. They're not awakened. They're
Well,
just
ignorant shouldn't be placed or felt as a bad word because I'm ignorant about a whole bunch, and I sure get stupid sometimes. And um, we all have to let go of the energies that are behind the things that we have been taught are to be said when those aren't the correct words.
that's quite correct, and that's what I'm teaching my older daughter, who used to be a very very high strong, very always she was always a triple plus. You know what I'm saying? All this, she was good, and as long as she didn't she didn't, what is it, subscribe to all those competitive jealousy stuff. That's fine
Now,
because
Molson,
she
I
was
got
getting
something.
more out of life. I'm sorry.
Right, right. And it's only because I got a commercial art degree and a BA in art. And they changed the system a long time ago because this was the 70s, early 80s. And I just could not live the lie. And I think that's what also people are feeling is that this just isn't right. And she's worked so
Mm-hmm.
hard to gain
Mm-hmm.
where she's at, where she might be feeling the lie. And that's where the
Right.
fear comes in at because their maritime laws, I mean, one of the hosts here at the station is a lawyer. I don't know how he can do his show because he's pretty liberated nation and be able to do his lawyerhood. But there's different degrees of being able to assist through the bedlam. And that's where she'll find her niche. She
Right.
just has to breathe through the piece of finding where she really is going to be directed to through God, by God, because of God, if she listens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the major thing, and this is something that happened to me in 2000. No, I'm sorry. Let me see. Yeah, 2002, three. The main thing is, especially if you're professional and you've been good at what you're doing and all this stuff, the first thing is letting go, and it's extremely difficult. When
Right.
I was a professor, see now you may think, oh, you're intense, you're writing so many papers, you're doing this, and I'm doing more and more and more, and I want to do, I enjoy it, I love it, but at that time, sometimes you think to yourself, hey, I'm a professor, I'm a PhD, I have to be successful. People are looking. When you look at things that way, that is the wrong thing. That you want you if you subscribe to your heart, and if you listen to your higher self, and if you continue with that, that is wonderful. That's getting full life. But if you use your brain to tell yourself, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, people are gonna not I'm not gonna look good if people, oh, that is rubbish.
Right.
And that's what I'm teaching my daughter. You know what she said to me?
Hmm.
She said, "Oh, Dad, I graduated in the top 10% at George Washington University, and which was nothing. She would have been in the top one or two. I pulled her back. But you know what I'm saying? Because that's what
Right.
always she was. She was number one in everything when she was in high school and everything. So I pulled her out. I've been teaching her for many years, 3, 4 years, to let go, let go, let go. But still, she told me, she said, "Dad, what's going to happen if I fail this exam?" I
Jesus.
said, "The heck with the failing of the exam. You come in here, and I'm going to help you. You're going to get to the business. You're going to do something. You're going to do something you like. Go travel around the world. Go do whatever. You know, who cares what people think? One day you look good. They're all around you. They want your signature, and this and that. Next day, they just forget about you.
Right,
Those type
exactly.
those type of people who judge, they're not worthy of consideration. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
So
totally.
I had to talk to her like 3 o'clock in the morning. So she did go. I want to tell you this, Mona, which is I'm so pleased. I did have meditation pray for her. I tell her to do the same thing. She didn't sleep at all the whole night, which scared the heck out of her
Right.
because she said she's gonna fail because she's not gonna. I said no. You're in a high frequency. Stay in the high frequency. And then I told her, I said, "You see what I do? I'm always up at night, and do I suffer?" And she was actually telling me that I don't know how you do this. You're over 2.5 times my age, and you've got more energy than I do. And I said, did you remember you were telling me this? And so, how do I do it? 1 hour of sleep, it's enough for me. 2 hours sleep is enough. I told her, listen, I don't want to get into all this stuff, but Arcturians don't sleep at all. They only sleep 1 or 2 hours a week or so.
Right. It all depends on the spirit degree and level. You're so correct in that. We have been taught to have 3 meals a day, instead of eating when you're hungry, and other
Right.
conditions, those natures that I'm really proud. That's pretty cool. But then sometimes you still need that break. You take naps during the day?
Do I?
Well, I mean, if you're going,
I'm sorry.
for an hour of sleep.
No, I don't. No, I don't. Once in a while, I do. Once in a while, I sit in front of TV with the children. They want to watch a program, and I'm very selective in what they watch, and they're selective. But to be honest with you, I fall asleep. You know, it's just that if it's something about Ghost Whisperer or if it's a documentary or something like this, I could keep myself awake. But even something like Ghost Whisperer, because they're not correct, they
What? Oh, we're gonna have to get on that subject now. What do you mean go? Oh, now you opened a can of huh?
No, we got to actually get back to our physiognomy and
Right now we're gonna go for our first break, sweetheart. So we'll
sure,
be right
sure,
back.
definitely.
And again, as we're listener supported from all over the world, I'm gonna say hi to Hawaii and Gregory because he doesn't believe this is live. But yeah, and you can get the archives if you miss a show, if you're not able to be here. And there's going to be all kinds of great upcoming Mondays and Thursdays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Fridays. So go to the archives and help support the station by following a host, a show, or whichever, because you can also get a DVD. Just thank you for listening, and you're on Adventures of a Feral Hippie, aren't you, Mohsen? Aren't you here? Oh, oh.
Hello.
Hi, honey.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just listening to you. So,
Yeah, I don't have an on and off button. I
yeah.
try. That's why I can't go into a church because I have to turn myself off. Because to me, it's like, oh my gosh. And then, especially when I feel energies in there that are so derogatory that my spirit runs. Because I have a very good spirit detector to be able to tell who's what or what's going on. And when you said the last thing as we were leaving about do you remember what you were stating? The entities and the influences that we are under.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, what we were talking about, you brought up a very, very good point, is that which is something very pertinent to people right now on the planet because people are suffering from this. I mean, the frequencies are changing. I'm sure there's a lot of auric bleeding going around
Uh
because
huh.
people's their energies they just there's a differential pressure between what is coming from outside and what's within, and you have to equalize. You have to upshift your frequency to meet that, and if you don't, it's going to fissure or crack your auras, and you're going to lose your a lot of your energies.
Right.
And so one of the most important thing is that first of all, you don't want to lose that. You want to have auric maintenance, which we're going to be talking about later, maybe in different shows. But
Mm-hmm.
the most important thing is that you just do not want to subscribe to anything that brings fear, anger, anxiety, all this. And you asked the most beautiful question right at the beginning of the show, and you said, "How do you do that?" And that, in my opinion, and I think this is actually not my opinion. It's very, very anybody who's spiritual will tell you that it's unconditional love.
Uh-huh.
Unconditional love is not. Again, I reiterate, and some people may have a problem with this vernacular that I'm going to be using. But unconditional love is not just a feeling or even a frequency, it is a science.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to understand unconditional love, what that means, think to yourself this way: the prime creator of everything that it is, the way he or she has created and also maintains the integrity of the cosmos is through unconditional love. Who do you pray to? Who do you go to when you have you know, you want to really resort to something that is definitely a credible source that there is no question. I mean, you can doubt this, doubt that. You can't doubt God.
Right. Well,
God is
why
not
would you want to
the
separate yourself? Because that is what's making the pain, is that we've separated ourselves from prime source, or whatever the
and
word was that you said.
and wonderful, Mona. You always read my mind. I think we're beginning to have some
Well,
kind
I
of
don't,
a
I don't question the universe any longer because I know I'm only in my own self being to be true. And so I've looked and found and still look and find. It's part of a game to me, but it's a good game because I've had so many people, they can just come around me and their energies will change just because I
yeah.
am who I am. I, I,
Hmm.
I give them permission to also be who they are. And most people don't get that. So
Right.
I thank you. And
And
you
that
too.
now two things comes to mind. First of all, you again read my mind and said the second thing that I was just about to say, and that is, what do you do? The first thing you do, you do not feel you're separated from the prime creator.
Mm-hmm.
You are not. I can assure you. Again, I wrote a paper, a mathematical model for consciousness. And in there, you're attached to God through a spring with a certain, actually definable coefficient of expansibility, consciousness expansibility, and which is a function of karma. Anyway, we said that. But the point is that you're connected to it. If you deflect, there is a force that pulls you back, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's there. He's put that in place. He's given you I apologize saying he because every time I say he, but by he, I don't mean gender, of course, God is
It.
omnipotent and also, androgynous. But anyway, I'm going to stick to he, one or the other,
It's the
because
it.
yeah, I don't
It's
want to
the
keep
it, Mohsen. It's the it.
well, you can't. You see, I have too much respect for God, so I don't want to call
Oh,
him
I
it.
get the okay on that. It's okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so separation is one thing that is going to destroy you, as you have already said it very, very, uh, uh, you know, nicely, admirably, and so um, separation is definitely the thing not to do, and then try to understand the unconditional aspect of unconditional love of God. How does he do that? You can understand your consciousness. You can understand your physiognomy. You can understand everything there is about science, technology, spirituality, whatever. I'm going to tell you this: your last final challenge will be to understand the science of unconditional love, because you have to get pretty close to the realm of omnipotence to totally appreciate it. And that doesn't just mean selfless, doesn't mean charity, doesn't mean any of this stuff. It means beyond all that stuff. Hopefully, I've put the seed in everybody's mind to start thinking about this, and they can add to it themselves, because it will come to them, and they will, because they seek God. And once you seek God, you will feel that unconditional love, and you begin to understand it, just like every subject, whether it's mechanics, it's plasma physics, whatever you do. When you start thinking about it, you get attuned to it, it'll come to you. In fact,
Right, because you're not putting out any limitations to stop it, which is denial, because that's what creates the first part of the separation is the denying. I mean, I don't try to pick sides if it is or it isn't, because I've just learned too much that, yeah, life will bring my computer, because I swear that when we get doing such interesting communications, that besides universal law, there's many external resources that influence the other things that are around us. You know, we can't see all this crap, and that's what pisses me off the most about this third dimensional realm. We're accosted by our communications. Everything is off its harmonic because we have a harmonic existence on this planet that we have been denied. And excuse me, I don't, I get the cosmic egg thing where we can have rips and tears and other things like that. That's why I like our talking about this, because if we can make stronger our essence of like, we're worth it, dang it, I've had enough, that we can conquer this next time frame of what our evolution is to become, in my opinion. So if the computer has its moments, I just go outside, have a couple hits of a cigarette. You called right in the nick of time, and we are back. We are back. We are back. Okay.
So, where are we online right now?
Yeah, we're on air.
Okay. Okay, very good. So anyway, to just reiterate on what we're saying is that the unconditional love is the ultimate challenge, and it's beyond this world, beyond understanding. You know, we've got so many frequencies, so many things to conquer and learn. And in my opinion, unconditional love in its full spectrum, it's in the realm of omnipotence. You know, but anyway, we can use some of that. You know, in parallel to that, not in the whole.
Well, to me, unconditional love feels like that perfect beanbag chair that you used to sit in. Do you remember beanbag chairs?
Right.
Where you just conform and you fit to the now. There's no other conditions that warrant real, attention.
That's correct. That's it answers everything, and it puts you right in where you should be. And you're not bombarded with all these dark dark frequencies of whether it's competition or jealousy or anger or whatever it might be. You know, it transmutes it all. I mean, all these things have been said. You know, if you go back to the the metaphysics, or the all the Eastern philosophies of spirituality and all that stuff. In fact, there's so many things that have been said. It's just really understanding them is important. And then once you really understand, and then you go back and almost come to a point of cliche, but it's not cliche. It's very, very real.
Oh, now we get a break.
Good. Okay. They couldn't do that then.
It's all good. It's a state of mind, because it is what it is. Whatever. We'll be right back. Yes, welcome back. And it sure is that the station owner does not go along with everything everybody says. But we love Mike, because he's doing a great job keeping Revolution Radio and Freedom Slips available for ears to hear. And there is all kinds of topics and subjects, and there's 2 studios running right now. And there are call-in listener lines in case anybody wants to share any of these shows. Studio A is 712-432-6958. And right now is on, The Secret Society Revealed, with Joe Atwill and Jerry Russell on Studio A, in case anybody's not having a good time here. And we are Studio B, which is 716-748-0112. Again, Studio B, 716-748-0112. So now that I've been scattered in 3 different directions, Mohsen, in the last minute, that was the best I could welcome us back to these adventures of a feral hippie. Because I was trying to get your information in chat. So again, you are Mohsen Paul.
Sarfarazi.
Thank you.
You have you have problem with that name.
Um,
Think of the fast cars.
I
Sarfarazi.
still cannot. There's many things my mind won't go there. You know, if I sat there and sang it like a song, I could probably catch it. But I can't even hardly read foreign language, let alone English.
It's okay there. It doesn't matter. It's just all these names and everything. They're just immaterial. You know what? You know, we're all connected. We're all souls. We don't need to have numbers or names or anything like that, strictly speaking. But
Right,
that's the
right,
way of
right.
this planet. So
But we all are. We're all
we have
numbers
social
and
security.
souls.
Exactly. We have social security. We have this. We have that. You know. So anyway, so um, here we are. Basically, we are the microcosmos, and we're connected to the cosmos, and which is basically what I excuse me what I consider to be the neural network of God, and the entire fabric of cosmos is actually it's a composite. It's crystal electric. The whole cosmos is electric. Our plasma scientists are beginning to find that out. What is going on? You know, they talk about a potential differential that things move through space, which is the same thing as potential differential that you get in terms of electricity
Right.
and magnetism and all that. Except the difference is that the cosmos is live and conscious, and it's crystalline. It is perfect. It emanates from the mind of God, so it is perfect. And also it is omnipotent. It is tremendous energy, and when the energy comes to us, it's just broken down into smaller pieces so we can handle it. But basically speaking, it's a crystal that has a very similar effect to the piezoelectric crystals. It works with a pinch that once you have a pinch, a compression, you actually create currents, and it moves from point A to point B. So it comes all the way from the cosmos to the super universes, to the large sector, to the small sector, to the universe, to the galaxy, to the constellation, to the planetary systems, and it comes all the way to our solar systems and us. And it moves through sun. Sun is the very, very essence, the very instrument of God. And our sun is connected, it receives information. It's basically a reflective mirror. Gets the information from Alcyon, the galactic sun, and it goes on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it comes all the way, and we are the micro sun, so to speak here. And it comes to us. It comes to our what we call our etheric bodies, which we call it aura, and that is, of course, in layers, because at different levels of frequency we can expand to a different and higher level. It's basically 7 layers. The first layer is, of course, your physical body, and then it extends to another layer, which is the etheric body, and that gets you to the fourth dimension. Actually, etheric body it's the uh, it's the boundary between the third world, which is the third dimension, which is the physical, and the fourth, which gets into stealth.
Etherical.
Exactly, and you talk about dark matter,
Mm-hmm.
and again, our scientists have said that there's about 20% of the cosmos is dark matter.
But
Only
isn't it just because we're blind to that matter?
oh, certainly, it's all there.
I
It's
mean, yeah, because I've seen it. I
yeah,
know I've seen it there.
it's the Constitution. It just changes from all the way from matter to they call it actually dark matter, but dark matter doesn't exist. What dark matter is a lower spectrum antimatter. So
Right.
basically you have matter, you have antimatter.
Mm-hmm.
But the 20%, so you got the 4%, the lowest 4% is physical, which is actually, as I said, I've proven it's 3.37%. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
It's all
And
pie to me, okay?
yeah, three some percent, 4%, who cares? You know, but the way 3.37% is because we've got 12 dimensions divided by 356 dimension, it comes to 337%.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, and then you got the next 20%, which is the dark matter, and that's your etheric sense. That's when you're expanding in your consciousness, you're going to be in that realm. And then they're talking about the 76% is antimatter. Okay, but in reality, it's 3.37 is matter, and the rest of it is antimatter.
Mm-hmm.
But in different spectrum, just like matter moves in spectrum from gamma rays to whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's the same thing there. Now, again, you got these 7 layers, and there are the way they work is that between each layer you have a membrane that is actually a double ply or sheet of membrane
Hmm.
that these electric currents move in opposite directions. And so you have a composite structure, a laminated structure, 7 layers. Each one is separated by these double sheet lamina. And you expand into etheric, which is going just outside third dimension. Then you go to what's has been labeled astral, which is actually incorrect. It should be called emotional. It's a better
Oh,
word for
okay.
it.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they said astral because you're in the lower part of the fourth dimension, and they said that, and we know this that some of these actually malevolent entities, that
Right.
they own the astral plane. So that's the lower part of the fourth dimension. It is basically where you dump all your
Yeah, but
uh,
it does sound like it's the emotional because that's what most people live off of. Is all the emotions.
that is correct. And actually,
So astral, yeah, I agree with you. It's next or
yeah,
later.
right. But astral comes from it refers to the aliens, astral, as I understand it. But basically, emotional, as you said, is the best thing to say because, in fact, the lower part of the fourth dimension is a dumping ground.
Oh,
It, it
lovely.
it's the sewer. It's the sewer. It's where when you dump your emotions, they don't go away. Those frequencies, they go and get parked there. And then when you have to ascend, you have to work your way through them, okay? Which is the process of clearing and cleansing and getting rid of karma in your soul. And then you can move into higher planes, into the middle part of the fourth, to the upper part, to the fifth, and on. So, anyway, so we have a very intricate source of etheric body going from the etheric to the astral to the well, we're going to use emotional, then you get to thought, then you get to causal, and then you get to spiritual, which is you're getting very close to your Christ consciousness, and then once you get into the crystalline consciousness, that is when you hit the fifth dimension, which is basically the proverbial heaven. And beyond that, you can go on and so forth. In fact, your 7 layer aura can expand to about 20 layers. And, with those 7 layers, you have 7 chakra system, which, they expand. And, you get up to 12. So when you get crystalline, you have 12 layers, fully crystalline. You get 12 layers of auric, which is which manifest themselves or function in 12 chakric layers. And it's actually very interesting. Recently, this has just come to me, uh, um, Mona,
Uh-huh.
and, I had some pretty negative guy in one of the groups that I had posted, and he came and said something as if I am changing the words, or I am coming up with new terminologies, and as if these things are well known. And then he talked about Kabbalah. Now, I think it was a very cheap shot. The guy was a troll, and we had a bunch of people actually after me attacking him. That he's just negative, and you know,
That's what he was looking for.
yeah,
Because,
he's
see,
a troll. He's a troll.
right,
Right. And then people were saying, "What do you know?" But anyway, the point that he was is that I think he'd seen that I referred to Lord Metatron,
right.
which that's it's bulk of it comes through my higher self, and I attribute it to Lord Metatron because I've communicated with him before, and he comes to me. It is kind of stealth. It goes through my higher self, and it's very 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 how can I tell you, very very spontaneous
Right.
when
Mm-hmm.
I get the inflow of information.
Right.
But he'd seen Metatron, the old Jewish stuff, Kabbalah. They have used the name Metatron. They don't know what the heck they're talking about and who
Well,
Metatron really is.
everything has a reflection, just like you said. People are gonna, they're just gonna be stupid, and you got to kind of play it off.
Yeah, it's just that, as I said, they see this word, that word, they connect it together, then they have their own negative thing, and so something that is as selfless, divine, you know what I'm saying? Because I know what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. I don't get anything out of anything.
I know,
Only the,
right? You're not,
only the
yeah, exactly.
satisfaction. I get a lot out of it. I do my mission. This
But
is
I
what I'm
get what you're
supposed.
saying, that you're not trying to grandiose that
No.
you have these abilities and all this other stuff. You're just being you.
Yeah, but these people are so silly. They look into those three-dimensional thing again. They think
Okay.
of competition, da 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 da. Da. That's unfortunate. There's some of that going on. I've been posting on several hundred of these groups, and I've seen things. Some of these people react to it. They think you are trying to promote your work. Well, the work is truth of God. Yes, I'm promoting my work. This is my mission on this planet to do this. But they don't look at it that way. They look at it in a very petty fashion.
Well, how do you put it out there as anonymous or an
Yeah, exactly.
alias? Because we do have title. I mean, come on, that's not fair.
It's not, honey. It's not just the title. It's just that you have to, you know, what did they do? Last time we had two people asking questions. One was saying, "Who's Metatron?" Secondly was saying, "How do you know these things?" That's what people want to know. They want to know where the information comes from. They want to understand the validity of it.
Right.
And although I dip into the science, I mean, I'll tell you in a minute that it recently just what it came to me a couple of days ago that I put it back in a new paper, and you know, but even if you go into the scientific stuff and all this stuff, a lot of it is a stealth. Your whole etheric system is a stealth. Your chakras, can you see your chakra?
Right, right, right.
Actually, I'll show you where you can see your chakra. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? That's what I came up with recently. What actually chakras are, this is very fascinating. And this is just, I came up with this 2 days ago, I think, last night, 2 nights ago, before I finished the last paper. Chakras are exactly analogous to the retina cells. You know how you detect light? And, you have You have two sources of cells in there. They're the conic, okay, they're the cones, and then they're the rods.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, these describe the outer shell of the cells. And it's the same way with chakras. Chakras, detect the light energy, and actually being cones, you have to augment them so they can become functional throughout your body, so you get this acceleration. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I call them particle accelerators, just like hadron's particle accelerator. The light particle, the adamanton particle, which is the source of your consciousness, comes in at the rim, and then it like escaped. Remember we talked about this? Goes down the cone, and once it goes down the cone, it accelerates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, when it accelerates, then it can fire the neurons, and it goes to the secondary chakras. It goes to tertiary chakras, and they distribute all over, propagate all your body. Okay. The first thing that it does, and this is another interesting thing that just came to me. Okay, because I always talked about resonance, and I, it just came to me. Resonance is different than beating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if you go into music, if you go into acoustics, and you talk about the phenomenon of beating and resonance. And beating is, I remember that from my high school, remember? But that's how that's how the information comes to me. You know what I'm saying? You know
Uh-huh.
that, you know that, and it all comes together. So anyway, beating is when you have a frequency that is almost the same as your excitation frequency. So the two frequency overlap, and then they create this beat. Now, the two frequencies are not 100% the same. In resonance, you have to hit the frequency, and then you get the resonance. Now, on three dimension, we get the phenomenon of beating, not resonance. And this
Mm-hmm.
is very new. As far as I know, nobody's ever talked about this. And so what happens, the light particles, they come in there, okay? They fire your neurons. Your neurons go all the way to your heart, and it starts beating your heart. Pump, pump, pump. That is the result of the light frequency, which interacts with your natural frequency of the body. Okay? And I've talked about all this stuff in other papers, I can't go.
Right, but I just reminded me of the days that I love to go to my Native American ceremonies because of the beat of the drum and the heartbeat.
Yeah, exactly. Uh-huh. Yeah.
But there's more that has been denounced that the beat isn't right. But I think I'm not a drummer, I'm not a musician, but it still is four count.
Yeah, the way that I'm referring to this beating phenomenon is just, I asked this question,
Mm-hmm.
okay? I said, what is why do I have a heartbeat? Boom, boom, boom. Where does it come from? And that's where it comes. The frequency of light
Mm-hmm.
gets very close to the natural frequency of your body, and then animates your body.
Right.
Animation occurs through beating of the heart. Okay? Now, that's your physicality. Okay? Beyond physicality, it's your consciousness. All right? Now, the consciousness, you have to have resonance. In other words, to get the download the information, not a physical system animating. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Then you get the resonance. Then once you totally get that frequency, you get that feeling, you get that thought. And then when you've got the thought, then you're the boss. You have the free will, and what you do with it is entirely up to you.
I agree.
You have the creatorship.
Mm-hmm.
God is giving his essence through these adamanton particles, coming all the way from the macrocosmos to yourself, who's the microcosmos.
Right.
And then you will do whatever you do with that after that.
All right. Now I keep envisioning water.
Hmm.
And astrologically, water is an emotional element. So we're going to go
It
back
is.
to the emotions there. Okay.
It is indeed. It is.
But oh, there was something else I was going to say. But go ahead. If there's anything that you can go off of that, I just lost what I was thinking.
You know, you might be on something there. I don't have the clear picture. I will
Well,
ask
water's
questions.
essential to all life, at least that we know of on this planet. Everything has something to do with water.
Yeah, well, do you know 90 some percent, what is it, 99%? I don't know exact figure right now. 98% of your body mass is water.
Right.
That's why when they cremate you, you gotta just fistful, handful of
Yeah, but they ruin
ashes.
that system with formaldehyde and all these other things that are not the true degradation of the human body. So that I think the
Exactly.
spirit gets trapped, which is very sad. And I mean, I've always tried to help those pass over to the other side
Yeah.
that needed to go, that were ready to go. And I did. I had this great ceremony, and I'm just going to say it because what the hey. I was always the astral keeper and part of the East Gate, and many, many times. And this one time, we were to give ourselves to the universe permission to become ourselves, and supposedly we were to have a physical partner with us. Well, my physical partner would have nothing to do with it, but since I'm Native American, I figured I needed to do this. And everybody got cornmeal in their hand because cornmeal is if you focus in the energies of the emotions, be them love, be them some sadness, whatever, and you stick them into the fire, right? Because things will be released.
Hmm.
And I etherically saw the tribes of all that area pass through to the other side, etherically, because I was not to give myself to another individual. I am there in my own true self, and by my whatever it was that I had to let go of, it helped enough energy in that area to let these etherics walk through. Now, right now, I could start crying because it was a very powerful evening. But
Hmm.
anyway,
Well,
on with the
actually,
show.
on that note, Mona, I have a different perspective, and it's actually more of in the older times I might have felt that way. It is it's what I consider as more refinement. I think what it is, you see, you got 7 layers, 7 bodies, right?
Right.
And on the lowest level, it's your physical body, okay? And your physical body is it has constituent members. Basically, you've got chemicals in predominantly carbon, and then you've got water,
Mm-hmm.
and that will form a solid mass through which you can interface with the 3D. Because I mean, even if you look at it as a hologram, all this stuff, you have to have a vehicle to communicate. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is. That, in my opinion, I had my wife actually cremated. Okay, in my opinion, and I'm more sure about it after this new revelation that I had, is that beating represents your connection to the physical. Once your heart stops beating, the physical is detached from the ethereal. There is nothing trapped in there. There's no emotions. In my opinion, what there is, the emotion, thoughts, and stuff. They can't stay in matter. See, and Metatron has said this very clearly too. It says that your thought, your consciousness, is not antimatter.
Mm-hmm.
It interfaces with antimatter, and there's a difference. Okay,
Right. It's like
and
air.
that's
You can't see air, but we know it's there.
yeah, but it interfaces. In other words, consciousness does not have any constitution as antimatter or whatever. The same thing I'm saying, that the thoughts and your emotions and stuff like that, they are frequencies.
Right.
They're frequencies of consciousness. They live in ethereal, and they can only interface with antimatter. Now, when there is a connection through heart beating, and
Huh.
the body is alive, they interface in matter plus antimatter because both of them exist. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Once your heart stops beating, what happens is that your your physical system just separates from the ethereal, and then you are in frequency.
We're going to be in frequency right as soon as these promos are done. Well, here we are back at freedomslips.com, Adventures of a Feral Hippie with Mohsen. Yay! It's one of these Mondays. As usual, there's so much more noise around and so much other influences that I do believe every day should be a Sabbath day. That we are here to play. We are here to build an existence of elbow rubbing to the point of just, smiles and having fun. And I like the idea that we can possibly put enough energy within ourselves to build our cosmic self, our egg. So it was like last week when you said bubbles, it just made a lot of sense to me because I seen that. I was actually at a Baptist church, which was kind of funny because everything that they told me I shouldn't be doing, I wanted to do. So I was a little like, whoa. And I said, then what is this God? And God was an entity outside of a bubble. And I didn't get an answer till that day that you said something about the bubbles. Oh my gosh, look at that. Oh, well, hey.
Yeah, there are a lot of you know beliefs that some of them have been imposed on us. Some of them, none of them are active imagination. I think if we imagine things, we imagine things correctly.
At
If we
least.
if we go to the heart and if we seek the truth, we shall find the truth.
Right.
There is a direct, as we said, communication between the microcosmos and the macrocosmos. And it is real, it is scientific, it is sophisticated, it is crystal electric. It moves through currents, and I think we understand that now. But there are things that somebody's come in and says, I mean, if you get evil or if you have an agenda in order to do something, the human brain can use its power of creation in that fashion. But the person who does it, there's a reason they do it because they want to suppress you. They want to feed on you. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that
Yes, I
that
do.
so they have a directive and they have a reason as to why they do that. Now, if that's not there, and then the only directive is a directive comes from God, from the macrocosmos, and it is benevolent. It can only be benevolent. And it is the truth. It is what we call the truth, and anybody can seek that. And I think nowadays, our chakras have developed, because we're becoming crystal.
Hmm.
And what's happening is that these elemental particles are coming there, and if there is an allowance, remember there's a willpower there. They come in there, they can get accelerated, they can get all this stuff, they can interface with your neural network, but ultimately it is a frequency in antimatter, and you have to put that into use, that thought energy. Okay,
But I have it.
because everything
Can I bring up something here?
certainly there. Go ahead.
I had nurseries and I had a cactus and succulent business. And when I did hundreds of pottings up, potting up a little cactus into a pot for single cell.
Hmm.
Basically, it was so repetitive that I would stand there in a semi trance. One day, I swear, I had the whole download of Moses seals, the dead seals, whatever seals they were. And as soon as I focused on that download, it stopped. So that's where the meditative part is, where you're saying that we get this information. Is it's true, we do. If we can step out of this third dimensional, even if we're doing something, like sitting there meditating, but I kind of like was meditating. After you do 500 cactus, you learn how to meditate, you don't want to
Right.
complain.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, was that just neat or what? And of course, other etherical things were going on in my life at that time, but it's really true. If we can step out of our own ways in unconditional love, there's so many miracles around us that all we have to do is want the facts of that unconditional love, and so much will show up. And it
That's
can be a funner time.
that's correct. And if you want to look at it more in a so to speak scientific, or I would say in a spiritual science, from a spiritual science point of view,
Mm-hmm.
your aura is layers upon layers of storage space.
There
That's
you go, Ram.
Yeah, that's exactly that's it's like a computer, it doesn't get activated until you hit the frequency. You want
Right.
to you want to go to the fourth dimension, you've got to hit the frequency. It can't be 7.83 hertz. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then you get into emotional, you get the thought, causal, spiritual, finally crystalline. You know what I'm saying? And but even beyond that, you see, this is just the beginning of it.
Exactly. It's the first step. Right.
Yeah, because your chakras, as I've mentioned it in my papers, they increase. The 12 chakras that we're talking about, plus the one, which is the stellar gateway chakra, by
Right.
the way, makes 13 chakras. Those are just the beginning of crystalline.
Mm-hmm.
So they increase to eightfold to 96, okay? Then to 12-fold to 144, and then to 20-fold to about 240 chakras. So basically, your body, even your etheric body or your physical body, which your etheric body interfaces with the physical body, and it's like lights up all over. It's like what is it? Aurora borealis,
Right, right, right.
or the northern lights.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. One turns on the other one. One turns on the other. Just like electricity. What happens?
Well,
You know what I'm
because it
saying?
is.
It is electricity. Exactly. It's crystal electric. And it's not just, see, the form of electricity that we have through our transmission lines, even the most, excuse me, sophisticated ones, they're all dissipative. Okay? They dissipate through the wired heat. They die away. Now, the direct current dies away very fast. The
Right.
alternating current stays on, which Tesla came up with. It persists. The crystal electric never dies. Okay, it is there. Comes from all the way from the cosmos, wherever you want to think that is, and it comes to you and it's in perfect shape. Nothing is dissipated. So you can bring this, and you do bring this. This is just automatic. This is the way that the cosmos works, and inner cosmos, and the microcosmos and macrocosmos. It comes in there, and it all gets stored in the layers of your aura, ready to be used when you're ready to use it, when
Right.
you pull your frequency up. So, and it's all there for you. You don't, first of all, I don't know exactly how it is, but I can imagine that the mechanism of transference of, uh, you know, the crystal electric, it's instantaneous. It comes to you. By the way, we know this through light.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you look at a galaxy far, far beyond, okay, you look at it and it reaches your eye right away in your retina. So, and that's only light in physicality, and we know light can accelerate.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's happening right now. The speed of light is increasing and leading to acceleration. So, I mean, it can be infinite. And that's, I think, what it is. The crystal electric current move that way. And they're fully conservative, meaning it doesn't dissipate at all. It is fully recoverable. And, these things I spoke of in that mathematical model for consciousness, because consciousness is light. You know what I'm saying? So we're
Okay,
talking.
but let me bring something up here, just because it's the topic of some of the things that. So you're telling me, which I really appreciate if I'm hearing this correctly, that by our thoughts, that we can change the conditions that are outside of us and the influences, as per se, maybe vaccinations, things that we really thought might have been good at one time that aren't good now, certain foods, any kind of thing that can be going on. So we can change that by our thought and our vibration of. Well, I just want to know, can we do that?
100%, honey.
I thought
100%.
so too, but that's what I want people to hear is that your thoughts will make the changes.
Absolutely. And that you can change your reality, your paradigm of life, in a way that, let's say you're absent and the paradigm of life changes. You come back and say, what is this planet? What is this thing? What are these creatures? What are these people? What are the way of everything changes. See, we talked about this last time that basically the grid systems,
Mm-hmm.
okay, they are program servers. They compile the information that comes in from the cosmos. Okay, it goes to the grid system. Okay, and see that everything is it goes from step to step to step. You go from the super universe all the way down to universe. I don't want to go through the steps, and then through basically planetary system, and then your planet, and your planet is a grid system. Okay,
Right.
and the grid system interacts with that magnetosphere, which is the aura of the planet, and it is a compiler. It brings in the information and it puts it in there, and then it projects it right to you. Okay, and then when you get that light of consciousness, you are the boss what to do with these frequencies. Then you use them the way you want to use them, those thought energy. Then you reflect them back to the grid. Now, depending on what is the average, the overall state of the frequency is, that becomes the reality. In other words, you
Just
want
a thought of change in perspective, because you said, I think I remember, it's just a fraction of a sight away.
uh, are you referring to what, the 10 to the minus 43 seconds that
It
we
could
get
be
that consciousness?
seconds or so much of a degree in perspective of seeing it. Like if I'm gazing at the trees, I want to see their auras. I unfocus. So,
Oh, certainly. It's basically, you know what I'm saying. The more you raise your frequencies, like you download more and more pixels, more energies, and those energies give you more pixels. So you can look at a tree and you see one thing, but you really focus, you're going to see specific. You can see a red little bird is sitting there. You see that it has fruits. You see this and this and this. So yes, yeah. I mean, the more as you increase your frequency, okay, which is we call it focus, or that degree of consciousness increases, there's more pixels come in. Remember, you were talking about the way your artwork and the layers that you put to get, the like a microfiche, how you can
right.
add, yeah. We talked about this. Yes, yes, we did talk about this. That's what it is. But what I'm saying in here is that you interact with the grid. The grid sends you all your possibilities. It's all the probabilities. Everything comes to you. Okay, and it comes to your chakric system. It goes in there. It goes into your neural network. It goes in your brain, of course, your heart and everything. And by the way, your heart pumps this blood. The blood go to all your endocrine system, and
Mm-hmm.
your endocrine system actually, I'm going to be writing a paper on this pretty soon on the endocrine system. um, the endocrine system actually, like the pituitary, your pineal, okay, receives the information, okay, and then make it comes up with some scenario. The scenario goes into pituitary. Pituitary looks at it, refines it. It goes to your thymus. Now that's where your emotion comes. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be 100% sure about such a thing manifesting and all that. Only when that is done, it has the blessings of the thymus and the pituitary, goes back to the pineal, and from the pineal through this binary digital light system, it gets reflected back into the universe, and then it becomes reality. Okay?
Gotcha.
So it is actually very complex. You have your chakras, you have your aura, bring in all the energy. It goes through your chakras. Your chakras, accelerate and work with that. Then they disseminate it throughout your body through secondary, tertiary chakras, whatever. It interacts with you, interfaces with your neural network. It is a neural network. It's the ethereal aspect of your physical neural network. Then it actually goes to your heart continuously. Your heart starts beating. When it beats, it gets the blood, circulates it all over, which goes everywhere, takes it into your brain, certainly in your endocrine system. The endocrine system, when they're crystalline and you know, they take that thought and make it a belief system.
Right.
And when it becomes 100% a belief, no questions, nothing, because you cannot confuse the cosmos.
Right. I call it
That's
universal law, divine right order, because it's like a restaurant. You ask what for something, and you're gonna get it. And it
exact. They
is
cook it for you.
determination. You're right. It is something that we put into a concrete form and not know it. But we can also undo it by using the love and building a better foundation.
Oh, anything. There is nothing. There are nothing out there that tells you you cannot create, you cannot be a god like entity and even show omnipotence. The only thing that's the problem resides within you. Your fear, your anger, your trepidation, your all these anxieties, all this stuff, when the neural network doesn't work properly.
Right.
Okay, but if that all works very, very correctly in a crystalline fashion, goes into your endocrine system, it will come back. It makes it a solid belief, and then there's manifestation. I
Hmm.
mean, listen, honey, you can. I know it sounds very bizarre for somebody who has been, for us who have been programmed for 13 millennia at least.
Yeah. Right.
But you can go out there and you can think to yourself, Ferrari, and you can have it right in front of your doorstep.
Right. But it
But
takes discipline. It
it
takes
takes
getting all kinds of stuff out of the way that you have fallen for in this lie of their illusion. And
exactly,
we're all worth it.
exactly. And also remember this, you have to operate in those frequencies.
Yeah.
You
It's
have to
not
increase
easy.
That's coming to us. I mean, that's coming to us. I think, to be honest with you, I think my frequency sometimes is through the roof. That's why my ears sound like a radio station.
Oh yeah, I've been getting that a couple days lately.
Oh,
I
oh
was
my God.
hearing Irish talking to me. I'm like, what?
Yeah. And then your dream system, your dream state is just changing. My dream state is changing. And sometimes I get up in the morning, see, here's one thing you said. I want to elaborate on that. Remember, you said when you bring it to kind of physicality to a, well, how did you put it? With a total, some sort of focus, then it disappears. You
Right.
have to stay in those frequencies. If you drop down your frequency to this, like 7 to 13 hertz, which is right now, if you do that, you are not going to think of a Ferrari and get a Ferrari. It doesn't happen. But if you are resonating in the fifth to seventh dimension
Okay.
type frequencies, and you're continuous and you're earnest and you don't know anything but, you have to get rid of the duality system first.
Right.
Because duality is polarity. Polarity is yes or no, is logic. Logic is all binary,
Hmm.
0 or 1. It is not 0 or 1. It's one thing. It's either 0 or it is 1. Okay? And once you get that, once your thought system, once your auric system is on the outer expanded layers and huge, and it can accommodate all these frequencies and all this stuff. Your chakras, you've got them lighted up all over,
Right.
and they're accelerating in that they are in precision mode with your neural network and with your endocrine system and everything like that. Then the duality disappears. The arc swing of duality just disappears.
Exactly.
In fact, let me tell you what's going on the cosmic scale.
Well, we're gonna have to let that go for another time.
Okay.
I'm wishing you the best and get a hold of me soon or vice versa. And I know that you'll be back next Monday.
Yes, dear. We'll think of something
And
different to do.
hug your daughter for me.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mohsen. Have a good
Nice,
day, darling.
nice being with you, honey.
Later.
Okay. Bye bye.